Britain, we haven't done badly in motorsport. 10 champions, 37 championship wins for British teams, the Idols, Hill, father or son, Mansell, Hunt, Clark, Hamilton or Button. What about John Surtees, the only man to win on 2 and 4 wheels? And what about Mike Hawthorn, the first British Formula 1 champion in 1958? It's time to add another champion to that list, maybe 2 with Jolyon Palmer, who knows, but it's time in 2017 for Toby Jones to embark on his journey with Williams. Valtteri Bottas has left the team to depart from Mercedes after Nico Rosberg retired after becoming the 33rd Formula 1 World Champion. It's a battle between Jones and Canadian Lance Stroll for the second seat alongside the returning Felipe Massa. Jones and Stroll take part in 2 different tests, and surely the British team will pick a British driver, regardless of whether Stroll brings a bigger wad of cash.
Lance Stroll has become the partner for Felipe Massa for the 2017 season. Massa is said to be very happy with his new teammate, but surely the team are under scrutiny now for not hiring a British driver. Mexican Esteban Gutierrez leaves Haas after a season with the American team, consistently being outpaced by Frenchman Romain Grosjean. In the last few hours, it's been announced that Nico Hülkenberg will be the lead driver at Renault next year, leaving Kevin Magnussen without a seat, so it's going to be a fight between Magnussen and Felipe Nasr for the seat at Haas, with Toby Jones also in the running.
Well, guess what? We got the Haas seat. I got my dream of running in F1 for a class team alongside a class teammate in Romain Grosjean, one of the best drivers on the grid, 100%. So, let's go and win some championships. We've got 10 years to do it. Let's go and win some championships, shall we? Ahead of that idiot Lance Stroll.
Yes, and I respect that. But my client has a championship to contest. So if you want our participation, I'm afraid the concessions are mandatory. Yes, that's fine. Get back to me when you can. Goodbye. No one ever just signs the contract. Anyway, thanks for coming by on such short notice. I just needed to cover a couple of quick things with you before you race. Firstly, as requested, there's a copy of your contract. It's a rolling deal. However, the team reserves right of termination if you fail to meet performance standards. You're second driver for now, but work hard, hit your targets, and I'll be able to sweeten the deal. I'm also looking to get you into some invitational events throughout the season. The experience and exposure from these will be great for your image. Plus, you'll get to drive some nice historic cars. Now then, go get ready for the next session, and good luck.
What is going on, guys? It's CIJ or Toby, and hello and welcome to the first episode of my Haas F1 career mode on F1 2017. As you can see, we've just signed our new contract as a second driver alongside Romain Grosjean, and the team says we expect me to help Romain Grosjean obviously develop the car into something great. Now, I don't know yet whether I'm going to kind of stay with Haas and do all that fancy stuff and try and get them to the top, or whether I'll just build a ladder and try and get to the top team. You know, it might not be Mercedes, of course, when we get sort of a few years in, because, you know, the development tree and the R&D tree, and things change, of course, development-wise. And if you are new around here, hello, I'm Toby, and welcome to my Haas career mode. Make sure to subscribe to see even more of this and just general random videos. And as you can see, this is the first practice session, getting straight into it, of course, of the F1 2017 season in Australia. I'm really excited to record this career mode, and make sure to stay around here for this first episode, because it was a really exciting one to record and a really exciting race. As you can see a few drivers being interviewed and getting strapped into their cars ready for the practice session, including myself, Toby Jones, of course, in that Haas car alongside Romain Grosjean. So we're doing a few of the practice programs, the first one being, of course, the track acclimatisation program, which is really good in this year's game, because I've actually driven quite a few of the tracks now. But the crucial thing is this year, obviously, the cars handle a lot differently, and even though I know the track's at the back of my hand, you have to drive a few laps to get acclimatised with these certain cars. So as you can see, we're getting to the end of the track acclimatisation program. Really tongue twister that is, acclimatisation. But anyway, getting to the end of this practice program, we've done pretty much perfectly, apart from a perfect score. I think, as you can see, in the 6th checkpoint, we missed out on this lap, and we missed out a few checkpoints but all in all, we did pretty well. Now, we didn't do great in this practice session, but just doing a few of the practice programs, like the track acclimatisation and the qualifying pace program, and a few of the others. There's 5 programs. I think I did 3 in this practice session. I didn't want to do too much, just really wanted to get into the race, because of course the racing is what we all want to see here. So as you can see then, that's the practice 1 result. We did 3 practice programs and we finished 16th in practice, just above the McLaren and the Sauber. So that's not too shabby, I guess, for the first practice session of 2017.
You got my message. Perfect. Welcome to home away from home. We get more real-time data from the factory now than ever before, and it all comes through here. So I have to spend more time checking over the reports and less time hunting you down in the hospitality suite. And to that end, sorry, just a sec. As I was saying, we've set up a desk for you at the front here. You can get onto the network from your laptop, so make sure to check the R&D screen regularly. And let us know how you want to use the data that we've collected over the weekend and through the practice programs. Also, bear in mind that the news from the factory won't always be good. Sometimes tests fail, like you've seen just now. And when that happens, we have to divert additional resources to fix it. C'est la vie, I'm afraid.
C'est la vie indeed, Chris. And as you can see, that's Chris, who we were introduced to in F1 2016. And as you can see, the resource points Haas have been very generous by giving us a whopping 2,250 to start off with, as well as our 145 we got in that session. But, you know, trying to work my maths isn't great. But as you can see, it's the R&D tree, which means that this year you can really have a good 10-year career mode with loads of upgrades to have. I think there's even 150 upgrades, something bonkers like that. So it'll take us a while to do all these upgrades. Now, something that I wanted to sort of get sorted on the car, because it's a decent car. It, for some reason, is the 8th car on the grid. I just think a kind of, as a general car, it's not brilliant. But I wanted to get the ignition system sorted and the engine power, because as you can see, you can only do the first upgrade. We can't just do any upgrade in the engine sort of area. You have to do the first one first, etc, etc. And that moves actually above Red Bull, Renault and Toro Rosso in that area. So that's bonkers, and a really good place to start. So that's the powertrain done. That's a whole load of our points used. I think we're going to use 1,000 points somewhere else. I can't quite remember where we used it, but I think it wasn't on durability, it was on the chassis, and generally on the central under tray, basically to reduce weight and make our car a little bit better. So what we're going to do now is go straight into qualifying. As you can see, a few of the aerodynamic upgrades done. And yeah, let's go straight into qualifying.
To Melbourne, where qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix should be getting underway shortly. Now then, Anthony Davidson, you're not getting any younger, but you have been involved in your fair share of qualifying sessions in an illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
It's not so much about dealing with the pressure, it's more about how you approach the risk, and just how much of it are you willing to take. You're constantly balancing the car on the edge of grip from braking, cornering and traction. And over the course of a lap, it's easy to get that balance wrong. And that's why achieving the perfect lap is almost impossible. As you say, I've been doing this 30 years now, and it never gets any easier.
So the upgrades will be with us for the Bahrain Grand Prix or the Chinese Grand Prix, I'm not quite sure, but the second race, can't remember what the second race is this year. It's been Bahrain and China kind of mixed around, but anyway, let's get into Q1. We're on the ultra soft tyres, struggling a little bit pace-wise. Kimi Raikkonen's top of the standings at the moment with a 1:23.978, but we're 2.3 seconds off that, and just above Jolie and Palmer. But if we get late into the session, as you can see, Palmer will in fact beat our time, I believe, and will be just ahead of McLaren's and the Saubers. There we go, Palmer's beat our time and done an impressive time. He's even beat his teammate Hulkenberg. So we need to get at least 3 tenths in this last lap to ensure that we qualify in 15th or above and get into Q2. So as you can see, we're 3 tenths off in the first sector of what we were before, and 7 tenths off overall. Still a tenth up on our delta, but it's not great. I'm not particularly brilliant at the second sector here. As you can see, so much for pushing, some horrible drive from me, corner cutting there. I only apologise, but the amount we were pushing, we just needed to push like absolute hell. And I don't think we're going to do it. We're 2 tenths up on the delta, and we really need a good start-finish straight. And as you can see, the delta's just coming down and down and down. And unfortunately, as Haas second drive with the real shock casualty to drop out of Q1, and in fact we're down in 18th below Alonso and Van Dorn, and it's really going to be an uphill struggle tomorrow for the Grand Prix. So Kimi Raikkonen in first, we obviously don't know who got pole officially, but Grosjean in 7th, that's embarrassing for us, but it can only go up from here. So let's go then to the Grand Prix.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and starting alongside in P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Raikkonen, Hamilton, Max Verstappen and Ricciardo, Massa, Stroll, Grosjean and Sergio Perez, Kvyat, Sainz, Esteban Ocon and Hulkenberg, Palmer, Alonso, Stoffel Van Dorn and a Haas, Ericsson and Pascal Wehrlein completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Here we go then, folks, the first race of the 2017 season, and of course the first episode of the Haas career mode. Make sure to stick around for this race around the Melbourne Grand Prix circuit, of course Albert Park in Australia. It was a brilliant race, really enjoyed recording it, as I said earlier, and as you can see we're just going on to the formation lap now, and we're just finishing the formation lap. No real point showing you guys the formation lap, plus the fact we have got some time limitations with the fact that this race is so exciting. I think I've just checked how long this race actually is in terms of highlights. It's about 16 minutes, so if you take that for 50% race, that isn't too shabby at all. So we're starting just behind the two McLarens, Van Dorn and Alonso. We're starting on the super soft tyres, and then I think going on to the supers again, and then taking the ultras for the end. It is usually a one-stop round here, but as you guys probably know from previous F1 games with me driving, my tyre wear isn't brilliant. So unfortunately we're going to have to take a two-stop, but hopefully there are some safety cars and all that stuff to mean that that other people take two stops. That's what I'm saying here. But anyway, let's go for the lights. We engage the clutch, get to the optimum RPM. We got 5 lights here in Australia, and it is lights out, and away we go. A decent start, of course, running traction control. Traction control is OP, of course. Jolyon Palmer's got an awful start, and Van Dorn's been held behind his teammate Alonso. We got past both of them. We got the inside of Hulkenberg into the first corner, and we tap wheels with Hulkenberg. But luckily on this game, and obviously in real life, you can have a little bit more contact without having any damage done. We've got past Alonso and Van Dorn on the start then, as well as Jolyon Palmer, and we've got the inside of the Renault of Hulkenberg, of course, only on those soft tyres. So we really need to clear that car, but as you can see, Hulkenberg still holds that place around the outside, going into the left hand, but into the right hand, and you just cannot go two abreast there. So we decide to stick it behind Hulkenberg for the moment. But a really good start, gaining 3 place, and we tap the back of Hulkenberg again. We just want to get past this guy, and then hopefully challenge Ocon, Kvyat and Sainz in front, because obviously, you know, we want to get points today, and we've had a really bad start. And as you can see, Hulkenberg, and we even overtake Ocon into that corner, but Ocon holds the inside line. I love this game for the fact that you can just scrap and race with other drivers really easily and have a really good race, and it's really frustrating, which I think what this game should be, to get past drivers, go around the outside of Ocon, go into the left-right chicane, and we probably get a better run out that chicane, but we were hindered by not having the optimum line. But we go down to the right hander. Will we stick it up the inside of the Force India of Ocon? Of course, with his debut race with Force India, we go up the inside of Ocon, and Ocon has to back out as we get ahead of the Force India driver. And at the end of lap 1, we've gained 5 places, and what a start that is. Absolutely fantastic. So now, coming to the end of lap 4, all the way on lap 4, I know, we've gapped a little bit from Ocon, but he's still quite close behind. As you can see, our teammate Grosjean, I believe he started 10th, that's where he's staying. But of course, we've got the DRS all activated and sorted, and we've got a better straight line speed in the Toro Rosso slightly, but of course, Kvyat and Sainz have got DRS, and it's only Grosjean really that's struggling because he hasn't got DRS. So as you can see, we're quite close to Daniel Kvyat. If we can get this place, that'd be fantastic, and then maybe we can battle with our teammate in Sainz. We've got DRS, we're surely too far away from Daniel Kvyat, and as you can see, we go up the inside of Kvyat. We are not afraid of making any move in this race, as long as it's clean and we don't make too much contact. We nearly banged wheels of Kvyat there, but we cannot make the move stick just yet. But in this lap, we've been able to hook up the corners and do a really good lap to ensure that we're right behind Kvyat. We go up the inside of like we did to Esteban Ocon on lap 1, but Kvyat is certainly resistant and doesn't want to give up that 12th place, even if that means that Sainz and Grosjean go. But as you can see in front, we've got a Force Injury Perez, as well as 2 other folks that are quite slow. So hopefully we can catch up to those, but it looks like one person's coming to the pits. That might be Perez himself, actually. But there's one driver in the pits. That means we'll go up to 12th. It's actually Lance Stroll, of course, our arch nemesis. He's gone to the Ultra Soft tyres, so that's quite an interesting move. I don't know if he started on the Ultras, but he did qualify in 8th, so I'm guessing he probably did get into that Q3 session. But we're right on the back of Kvyat now. Actually quite far away from Kvyat, but he hasn't got the DRS assistance this time. So we're going to take it up the inside once again. Coming into turn 3, we bang wheels with Kvyat, but that tells him in kind of a, I can't think what the word is now, but to signal to Kvyat that we don't want to stay behind you anymore. Get out of the way, son. We're going to torpedo you for once. But somebody's coming to the pits. I presume that's Kvyat, as Ocon's either overtook him or Kvyat's coming to the pits. As you can see, Grosjean's up to P8. We're up to P10, of course. There's a few people going to pits. So technically, we're pretty much in a provisional P12. But we've got the DRS on Sainz. Of course, Sainz got the DRS on Grosjean. And coming up to lap 8 now. We've had a really good start. And we've got Ricciardo, who comes into the pits. Who's this coming out of the pits? It's Raikkonen. And he's just behind Sainz. And oh, we've been held up by Raikkonen there. And there's a car now between us and Sainz. And that really doesn't help. And as you can see, Sainz has really gone, really. He's about 2 seconds back. And now we're under pressure because we lost all that time from banging reels with our idol, of course, Kimi Raikkonen. What an honour to be racing Kimi Raikkonen. Of course, guys, it's only a game, but we've got to have a bit of realism here, haven't we, in the commentary box. But obviously, Raikkonen's pulling away with that faster Ferrari and the fact he's got ultra softs on, but he is being massively held up behind Carlos Sainz. So we finally get to race our idol. I didn't think we could do this in our first race with Haas. Obviously, got the Ferrari engine as well. So we want to say quite friendly with Kimi Raikkonen, but we go around the outside, going to the left-right chicane. We don't quite get it, but we get a much better run going out the chicane. We're up the inside of Raikkonen. We've overtook Kimi Raikkonen. Get in there. We've got past Kimi Raikkonen. It might only be temporary, but who cares? Pascal Wehrlein's retired and out of the race, but there's a safety car deployed. Pascal Wehrlein's broke down with an engine failure, and we have now got a safety car deployed. So Kimi Raikkonen's coming to the pits, of course, before the safety car. But now here's our chance to change the strategy. Oh, I didn't realise. Sorry, folks. At the start of the race, which actually did opt for a super soft, then 2 ultra soft stints. As you can see, Grosjean's in the pits. I'm sure pretty much everyone will come into the pits. Actually, no, they're not, surprisingly. Obviously, not the DRS, sorry. The safety car would have come out probably for the likes of Hamilton and Bottas and Vettel at the front after they crossed the line. So didn't get a chance to come into the pits. Ricciardo didn't really gain, unfortunately, for him, because obviously he picked just before the safety car came out. A little bit like, what's this face? Can't think. Kimi Raikkonen. How can I forget Kimi Raikkonen's name? That's just a shame. And absolutely shameful. But me and Grosjean are now at the back, of course, for the Haas team. But we have got a pit stop on most of the other drivers. Lance Stroll's on the softs in front. So hopefully we can jump our arch nemesis. Then there's Massa in front. And then Alonso. And I think that's actually a Red Bull that might be ahead of Alonso. It might be a Sauber. I might be getting a bit confused, but as you can see, we're right behind Grosjean, right really on his rear bumper. We want to get past Grosjean straight away into the Richmond. So as you can see, we've got plenty of fuel in reserve. We can just burn off now, and it's horrible being at the back of the grid because everyone's just slowing each other down at the restart, and you just got to wait and anticipate that start, a little bit like Bottas did in Austria. Not quite from a standing start, but here we go then, back in racing editions at the start of lap 12 of this race, and it's not looking great, of course, for Haas at the moment, but if we go a little bit more into this race and become a little bit more patient, we should both be in the points. As you can see, we've got a really good run off turn 2. We don't want to crash into our teammate, being really cautious, but we go up the inside of our teammate. Alonso and Stroll are battling. Stroll goes up the inside of Alonso, but we go up the inside of Stroll and Alonso, and we tap the back of Massa, I think, a little bit there. But what a... oh my god, we've got past Felipe Massa. Oh, we've touched Massa. We've nearly spun the Williams around, but what a restart that is. Fantastic stuff. Not a great restart for Alonso, who's dropped behind Stroll, myself, and Grosjean, and that's absolutely shocking. But a bit later in the lap, we've managed to catch up to Max Verstappen, who's been held up by the Sauber, and Marcus Ericsson. Can we even get past Verstappen? We've already got past Raikkonen in this race. Can we get past Verstappen? Verstappen goes on the inside of Ericsson. We got the inside of both of them. Will Verstappen hold it? But we've got 13th place. Fantastic stuff. Absolutely fantastic up the inside. Unfortunately, no replay cameras for this race. But what a move that was. You could just see it on board. And Jolyon Palmer's got a puncture in the Renault. Oh dear, just bad luck as always for Palmer being translated into the game. Stoffel Van Dorn comes into the pits in the McLaren. Carlos Sainz is also in the pits as well as Perez and Vettel. And we're just behind Ricciardo now, who of course pit the lap before us. And we got Hulkenberg on the soft tyres. He hasn't actually pit yet, so credit to him I don't think he's pit yet, because I think Hulkenberg only makes one stop in this race, and I don't think he's pit yet. I can't quite remember anyway, but Verstappen's right behind us, of course, right on our tail, who we overtook earlier. Of course, Verstappen's got the faster car, but just in terms of pride and maybe impressing Red Bull, I don't think we're impressing Red Bull by holding Verstappen up, but to impress Red Bull in terms of being quicker than Verstappen, we're going to try and keep him behind. But we've got a run on Hulkenberg, who hasn't got DRS, and of course that Renault engine. We go up the inside of Hulkenberg into our favourite hunting place, turn 3 in this Grand Prix, and Hulkenberg holds it round the outside. I think we were battling with Hulkenberg earlier on, can't quite remember. I think we were, I think that's right. But Hulkenberg commits to his lines, and we are still behind Hulkenberg. We've got a bit of pressure here to get past Hulkenberg, because of course Verstappen's right behind us. So we don't want to lose a place to Verstappen. We want to get past Hulkenberg and hopefully put a car between ourselves and Verstappen. As you can see, Hulkenberg way too slow into that penultimate corner, and we get past him and keep a 2 cars gap between us and Verstappen for the moment. As you can see then, coming into the midpoint of the race, we're in 5th place. Hulkenberg hasn't pit yet, and as you can see, Bottas is on the super softs, Raikkonen's on the ultra soft. And pretty much apart from Hulkenberg, everyone's picked once. Pretty much everyone's going to have to make a 2-stop, apart from probably Stroll and Hulkenberg, because we're all on super softs and ultra softs. But yeah, back into the race. Just wanted to show you guys that, just so we don't get confused. And I think Raikkonen's been in again, from the ultra softs to the super soft tyres. And Raikkonen, of course, right behind us now. We're battling with Kimi earlier in the race, and because we want to be gracious to our mate from Ferrari, we do pull over to the inside. Kind of, you could say it's defensive, but of course we want to make sure that Kimi gets through and doesn't have a bad race, because we'd rather have Kimi win than Ricciardo or Bottas, of course, with the allegiance and the alliance we have with Ferrari. And we let Kimi go. We just give him a bit of room by not really hindering ourselves, but very tactically there. The tactical genius, of course, that I am not. We decide after Kimi's gone past to come into the pits. We've got nothing to gain on these super softs now. And we come into the pits, and as you can see, Vettel's just set the fastest lap just in front of us with 126.3. We're getting nowhere near that with the best of our 128.6. But on the ultra soft tyre, the quickest tyre, and we're back into our kind of hunting place, ironically, of the earlier laps in P12. But here we go, the battle you've all wanted to see. I've set this storyline up for us to have a bit of a what's the word? I can't even think. This is a bit embarrassing. The rivalry, of course, the hatred of Lance Stroll. And we're already into a points position as Grosjean's coming to the pits. I think he's just behind us. We've got Palmer, Stroll, Jones and Massa. We've got the 3 youngsters and Massa, a bit of experience. Just watch us all battle. Stroll's got DRS. Palmer hasn't. Will we go up the inside of Stroll? Yes, we will. We'll go up the inside of Stroll. Tell him balls to it. That's it for Lance Stroll. I don't know, I got quite enthusiastic there, but we did. But anyway, we're up to P9. We told Lance Stroll he can go bugger himself. But anyway, we're on the faster tyre, so we're entitled to that place. And we're beating both Williams. Just in a bad job, and Palmer's done the same as what Hulkenberg did. But of course, early on in the race, and he's broke way too early there, and unfortunately tapped the back of Jolyon Palmer, and we're up to 8th place in this Grand Prix. We're going on to the start of lap 25. We're in P8, a fantastic result for Haas. I wasn't expecting this whatsoever. Of course, starting in P18, a point would have been just fantastic, but to get 6 of them, it'd be brilliant. So Massa's just behind us now. We've got a little bit of pressure from Massa, and Hulkenberg's managed to take that one-stop strategy to brilliance, really. And as you can see, Massa's going up the inside. Unfortunately, we're going to lose that 7th place, as Massa just got the better speed, or are we actually? Massa has made a little bit of a mistake out of turn 1. We've got the better line, but we've got to make sure Perez doesn't overtake us as well. But we go up the inside of Felipe Massa, and unbelievably, even though Massa had DRS, we managed to get through. We've held that inside line. We pushed Massa off. We kind of said, you know, you're not having that place. And we've kept 7th place, and now Bottas has won the race. We get to the end of the race, and see what I mean about that being exciting? I thought it was an exciting race. You're not going to get a much better opener than that, in my opinion. A safety car, a 2-stop strategy for everyone, and unfortunately, not for us, but for Grosjean, as you could just see there in the rear view of my car, he is at the back of this train, which means he's only going to get 11th place. So what a start for us. From 18th on the grid, positions gained 11, up to 7th place in this race. Fantastic start for me. Okay, strategy was brilliant because, of course, of the safety car. Maybe it wouldn't have been as good if we didn't have that safety car and we would have only got a point or so. But our pace was really good in this race. With a few upgrades going further into the season, hopefully we can improve on that performance even more. So as you can see, that Valtteri Bottas wins the first race of the season, making it a 1-2 for Ferrari. Kimi Raikkonen getting 2nd and Daniel Ricciardo finishing up in 3rd. Ironically, well, it's not really ironic, I suppose, but amazingly, neither of the championship contenders in the real-life season, Vettel or Hamilton, got in the top 3, but they did finish 4th and 5th, sorry. Hulkenberg managed to get 6th, we got 7th, Massa 8th, and then I think it was Stroll 9th, and Perez 10th. Might be the wrong way around, but Verstappen didn't get any points, amazingly. And the retirees were Ocon, Verline, and somebody else, I can't remember, but we'll have a look later into this race. So the drivers spray the champagne. I don't think the Bottas and Raikkonen are a bit that enthusiastic on the podium in real life, but who knows, I guess. The team are having a real good laugh and enjoying themselves, and that's a real good start for those 3 constructors. Nice to see 3 different constructors on the podium, and who knows, by the end of the season we can make it onto that podium as well. So actually Perez got past Stroll and it was 9th place for him, and guttingly Grosjean was only 4/10 off the points, but we've got 6 points, which is more than enough for the Haas team from this race. Sainz finished 12th, with Verstappen having a poor race from 5th onwards. Maybe it was us taking him that made that worse. It was Kvyat, sorry, who retired. So actually our earlier battle with Kvyat didn't come to anything as he retired from the Grand Prix. So the constructors standings, I think Kimi 2nd and Raikkonen in 4th. That means that, sorry, no, other way around. Kimi in 2nd, Raikkonen 4th. What am I on about? Kimi 2nd and Seb 4th. That's 30 points. Bottas 1st and Hamilton 5th. That's 35 points for them. So Mercedes are just ahead at the moment. But of course, we've scored points. Something that Verstappen didn't do amazingly in the Red Bull. Toro Rosso didn't get any points, neither did Sauber. I don't think McLaren got any either. We're just talking to Jonathan here, who's got some of the classic cars. I'm not going to be showing you any of these in this series, I just want this to be a pure career mode series, but I have unlocked some of these classic events, so in a different series I'll definitely make sure to do that. But let's just take a breather now. That's it for the first episode of Career Mode. If you have enjoyed that, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for much more Haas Career Mode. If you have enjoyed this episode, a lot of work's gone into it, so a like is really appreciated. And yeah, as you can see, Jonathan talking to us, and Emma Jenkins, of course, our agent. It's been a long 26.5-minute video, so I can finally breathe now. I've been TIJ, and we'll see you in China. Let's have some comments in, folks. Where do you think I'll finish in China? Just a bit of a prediction. I'm going to go for 10th. Why not? Just a standard point. As you can see, Gunther Steiner talking to one of our engineers. But anyway, let me stop rambling on. That's it for the Australian Grand Prix in race 1 of the season. Fantastic start for myself and the Haas team in the journey to becoming the world champion. We beat Lance Stroll, that's all that matters anyway, folks. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.